What is it that drives people to overachieve? To be in the constant need of achieving things in order to feel good about yourself? I have worked with many people, and some of them have been professional athletes, actually world champions, and actors in Hollywood, and people have achieved great things. And some of them, they still need to keep achieving things in order to feel good about themselves. And that becomes a problem because we all want to achieve things. We want to do well in our careers, our personal interests, or relationships. However, when it becomes a requirement that I have to achieve things constantly to feel good about myself, then that becomes a problem. And it's a problem that will continue until the day we die, unless we do something about it. We're never going to be satisfied with ourselves. We always are thinking about the future, about how with the next thing that I achieve, with the next thing that I get, I'm finally going to become worthy or good enough. That is what we call a conditional sense of self-esteem or self-worth. And it's when our sense of identity or self-worth is tied up with what we achieve in the world. It's conditional to what we achieve. Do you think you were born with conditional sense of self-worth? Do you think when we were babies, we were thinking like, oh, I have to achieve things to be worthy, to be recognized? Every baby is born with a completely unconditional sense of self-esteem or self-worth. We know that we deserve things. We take it for granted that we're worthy and deserving. It is until later that we go into difficulties that we distort that sense of identity. We create strategies, or in this case, we call them meta programs of a conditional sense of self-worth, where we keep achieving things, or that we need to achieve things in order to feel good about ourselves. So let's explore how this issue can be created. Let's take the example of a young person, a young woman who's always pressured very hard to perform by her parents. And she is congratulated and celebrated when she achieves things, brings good grades, or does well at sports. And she's punished, and her parents are disappointed when she doesn't. That sends the message as a child that you're only celebrated, you're only approved of, you're only accepted when you're achieving things, and that you're put down and your parents are highly disappointed, or you're punished when you don't. And as a child, we need to feel accepted, we need to feel safe, we need to be approved of. We need very few things, like a shelter and food and love and support, but we need those things a lot. And we don't like to be criticized or judged. We don't even like that as adults. And imagine being a kid when you are under the pressure of adults that have more power than you. Everyone basically has more power than you. So it becomes a matter of survival, a matter of protection. So you need to protect yourself. And what you do is to start achieving things, because that's the only way that people finally celebrate you or finally accept you, and at least stops the criticism or the physical punishment or whatever is it that that person goes through. So this installs a new strategy, or what we call meta program, of conditional sense of self-worth, where I'm only feeling safe when I'm achieving things. I'm only feeling accepted and loved when I'm achieving things. And of course, later in life, it gets generalized in different areas of life and different contexts. And I keep doing the same thing over and over and over in order to feel good about myself, because that's what I learned from childhood. When I was a kid, I was only safe and celebrated and accepted when I was achieving things. So I keep doing the same. Obviously, a non-conscious strategy. It's not that I'm thinking, oh, geez, I need to achieve things because that's what happened in my childhood. It's a non-conscious process that happens all the time in the background, and I feel this constant urge to achieve things to feel better about myself. Obviously, there is a big problem, because we are born feeling completely okay with ourselves, and that's the more natural way of being. And we want to be able to achieve things, but without the pressure in the shoulders of having to achieve them in order to feel good about ourselves. And there is normally a big fear from people. And when I'm working with them, they always tell me, Guillermo, but suddenly maybe I'm not going to be able to do things. Maybe I'm not going to be motivated to do things. And I have worked with hundreds of people with this very issue. And not even once the person has say, oh, well, I don't have to achieve things to feel good about myself. I'm going to go lay down on a bed for the rest of my life and do nothing. That doesn't happen. It's a fear that person has, but it never happens. If anything, is the opposite. Finally, when you're free of that weight of your shoulders, of having to achieve things to feel good about yourself, you take it less seriously. You're more able to experiment and play and just do things without having to be so attached to the end result of the things that you're doing. So people get much more energy. Actually, there's lots of energy free in that moment, and people can experiment and finally um, do what they want to do in a more independent way, in a more free way. And normally they succeed much more because they don't have that pressure. And it's so nice to be able to do things, the things that we want to do, without having to do them just so we feel better about themselves. So there are ways to work with this. Awareness is the first step, understanding where it comes from, understanding what it is, which is a conditional sense of self-worth, a specific meta program or strategy that you installed maybe when you were a kid or an adolescent or a preteen, in order to feel safe, to feel protected against judgment or criticism or physical punishment. That's the first step, awareness. And then the second step is actually doing the work. There are many tools that can help us overcome and reprogram this. Remember, you were not born like that. It's only programming. And if it was programmed, you can reprogram it again. So if this is something that you struggle with, know that you were not born like this. This is a strategy that you acquired and can be reprogrammed. Go ahead and send me a message or visit my website. Me or one of my coaches would be willing to work with you and help you overcome this issue.